Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. It's going to be my War Within Affliction Warlock DPS guide. And we're going to be covering talents, hero talents, single target talents, AoE talents for both Hellcaller and Soul Harvester, which are the new Affliction Warlock hero talent builds, as well as rotations, single target AoE tier sets, stat weights, and basically whatever you want to know about Affliction Warlock heading into patch 11.0 and season 1. If you guys want any weak horrors or add-ons you see in the video, links to Twitch and Discord down below, you can go for free. At the same time, I want to say off the bat here that things may change over the next 2 weeks with tuning and all that kind of stuff. So we're not going to cover embellishments and things here. But if you want, my website, kalamazi.gg, will have that all up to date the day after these videos come out for each spec. So if you're going to bookmark that, check it out, whatever, that also works. With that being said, let's get right into it. Getting into Affliction Warlock tier sets and secondary stats for the War Within 11.0, Season 1, and Nerebar Palace. Rites of the Hexflame Covenant is our tier set. It has 5 pieces like we know: helm, shoulders, chest, gloves, and legs. Now, when it comes to Affliction, the 2 set says Malefic Rapture deals 5% increased damage, and its critical strike chance is increased by 10%. Now, Rapture, which we'll get to in a minute here in the rotation section, is your main spender in both single target and AoE for Affliction. Now, Seed of Corruption is around, but so the Siege is gone. So you cast Seed of Corruption only one time in AoE to apply Corruption to all the mobs, and then cast Rapture in both single target and AoE settings as your main shard spender. So this is basically a buff to your spender everywhere. So that's the reason why there's no seed clause in here. Well, one of the reasons why. Now, the 4-piece says Malefic Rapture has a chance to increase damage dealt by your Agony, Corruption, and Unstable Affliction by 15% for 8 seconds. Now, if you played Aff Warlock at all in Dragonflight, we had a talent for a while called Dread Touch, which had a pretty similar effect here. It was all dot damage, well, most dot damage for the most part, and it would give it to you, like, the effect for 8 seconds as well. It used to be 6, then it was 8. This is a similar effect. However, it is not as, I guess, demanding if you know, we'll look at it that way, because this is not a guaranteed chance whenever you Rapture to get the effect. It is a chance, you know. So what you can do if you're playing Soul Harvester, for example, you have some shards laying around, or Hellcaller outside of your Rapture windows to spare, or if you get procs for instant cast Raptures, those can proc this effect. So if you have extra resources laying around, you can fish for a proc or two. At the same time, if you do get a proc for the full 8 seconds here, and you Rapture again right afterwards and get a proc again, it will indeed pandemic in a sense. It will add 4 seconds on the effect to essentially 12 seconds on the duration. So it does indeed stack. Sort of, it's pretty well thought out for the most part, but you can't. This is really guarantee. You can't really guarantee an uptime on it essentially. But if you fish for it and get some procs in your opener, great. If you don't, well, run it back. It is what it is. Now, as far as secondary stats are concerned for Affliction and War Within, Sims and everything haven't been run 100% for embellishments and trinkets and all that stuff as of yet. It's very likely still Haste, Mastery, Crit, and then Verse and Crit and Mastery have been sort of like interchangeable for a while depending on your stats, but I would highly encourage you to run your own Sims on raidbots.com because your gear varies from mine, and that will make a difference. If you don't want to, Haste, Mastery, Crit, and Verse, but I would highly encourage you to run your own Sim, because you are likely leaving damage on the table if you're not running your own. Your gear varies from mine, and honestly, for the most part, I've played a lot of Haste Mastery gear in S4 and S3 and Dragonflight, part of my Aff set, but there are some Crit Verse pieces that do sim pretty well, sort of BIS, at least for me, because I have such little Crit and Verse. So it's worth running your own Sims, but if you don't want to, Haste, Mastery equal to Crit, essentially, and then Versatility. Alrighty, now getting into single target talents here for both Soul Harvester and Hellcaller Affliction with a bit of Cleave mixed in as well. We're going to start off here with Soul Harvester in single target. Now, as of August 20th at 4:10 a.m., it is 4:10 a.m. For me, Soul Harvester Affliction is currently the highest simming spec for Affliction and overall for all Warlock specs and builds currently in single target. That may very well change, and if it does, I have a paste bin link down below in the description where I will update for every single talent build and all that. If Blizzard changes things, they shift in general for the duration of 11.0. It is different from the one I had for a while. I will update it when every guide comes out with, the corresponding builds. So this one should be out with this video. Now, When it comes to Soul Harvester Affliction, the general rotation of AF is still there. We'll get into it in a minute here, but you get a lot of extra Nightfall procs. Nightfall is this ability right here, Corruption, doing damage, a chance to give you a proc, which is basically a Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt that's empowered, channels faster, and so on and so forth, right? Now, a lot of Soul Harvester is built around Nightfall synergies, Satiel's Volition, whatever this is called. Cletus, I'm not sure. This thing can proc Shared Fate. You have this giving you Nightfall damage increases as well. You have things like Wicked Reaping. Whenever you consume Nightfall, you have a chance, not even a chance, it spawns your demon, which is going to come out, apply Soul Anathema, and do his own damage. Now, on top of that, Soul Harvester has Succulent Souls, essentially shards, right? Whenever you generate a shard, there's a chance for it to be succulent. A succulent shard, or soul, whatever you want to call it, empowers your next rapture by 20%. Now, whenever you cast your Soul Rot via Shadow of Death here, you are guaranteed, it grants you 3 shards, which are guaranteed to be succulent. So this ability empowers your minute window with your Soul Rot, by giving you at least 3 raptures that are guaranteed to have 20% more damage on them. Well, also, you know, whenever you cast them, they're succulent, you're going to spawn your demon, who applies Wicked Reaping. Or sorry, Soul Anathema, who applies other damage effects like, you know, this right here, Reaping, through Nightfall effects being used at the same time. So these windows in general have a lot of synergy that are based around Nightfall procs, but also generating succulent souls, which you can generate 3 of by casting Soul Rot. Now, getting into the talent tree over here, for the most part, doesn't really change a whole lot between Soul Harvester and Hellcaller until you get to the bottom. But passively, still relatively similar. Top here, UA, we're playing Seed. You have to path in the Seed in single target regardless. It is what it is. I can't change it. I'm not sure what to tell you. 2 points in Kindle Malice for a Rapture and Corruption increase. You are playing Absolute Corruption here. Now, Siphon Life is 5% more damage than Absolute Corruption to Corruption, but AC is permanent. It saves you 1 million globals. You play this. You don't play this currently. You play this everywhere. You're playing Nightfall here, obviously. Vault of Agony, Drain Soul, Summoner's Embrace, Phantom Singularity, and Infirmity. You're playing Infirmity with Singularity. You are not playing it with Vile Taint if you play this anywhere. But it does give you a damage increase whenever your Singularity is active to the mob that Singularity is on, and surrounding mobs that are getting pulsed on by it. Now, next row here, you're playing Haunt, Shadow's Embrace, Dark Glare, Cunning Cruelty, 2 points in Contagion here, 1 point in Visionary. This is indeed worth it, especially after the Dark Glare buff. 1 point in Improved Haunt, which does indeed apply Shadow's Embrace whenever you cast Haunt. Makes your opener a bit more exciting, I guess. Quality of life, there you go. A point in Creeping Death here, a point in Focus Malignancy, and a point in Death's Embrace. Now, I have seen this point also used in Dark Harvest, even in single target. They are both, from what I've seen, very close. If it's a fight like Rashanon in Nerebar Palace, you would want Death's Embrace. The boss starts at half health, right? So if you're in any kind of like Cleave setting, obviously with Soul Harvester, I would definitely play Dark Harvest over Death's Embrace, or maybe even both, depending on the setting. But I'm going to stick with Death's Embrace for now in single target and go from there. You're playing Soul Rot. This is our main, trigger of Shadow of Death here. You're playing Malign Omen. Whenever you Rapture, after casting Soul Rot, you get 3 dot extensions per Rapture of 2 seconds each. Combining this with Dark Glare gives you an exceptionally long dot window every 2 minutes and a bit of a longer one every minute with Soul Rot. Over here we have Crescendo, Withering Bolt, Improved Malefic Rapture, Malefic Touch, which does indeed scale with Mastery and War Within, and we are playing Ravenous Afflictions. The proc chance, a bit low, but at the same time, it's another Nightfall proc. Nightfall fuels the demon, right? I will say they have changed this ability to now have to, it requires you to cast Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt, whatever you're playing here, on your target that has UA on it. It has to be Agony, Corruption, and UA on that target to get the effect. It used to be any target as long as 3 were active somewhere. Now it's that UA target specifically. When it comes to Hellcaller and single target here, the build shifts a little bit. If you look here, not as much as it may initially seem, at least. We're playing abilities here in the tree. So we're playing Hate Fear Rituals over Bleak Heart Tactics. More Wither damage. Wither is your spell here for Hellcaller. It replaces Corruption. It is a much harder hitting version of Corruption. It is very strong. It is what Hellcaller is based around. A lot of abilities increase Wither damage, effectiveness, all of that. You've got things like this here, increasing both Shadow damage, Pyro damage, which Wither is, Shadow Fury, or Shadow Flame, whatever we call it. There you go. Both of these increase Rapture, increase Wither. Blackened Soul gives you essentially stacks on your Wither. Each time Wither gains a stack is a chance to collapse, essentially, consuming a stack every 1 second until, you know, it goes to 0 stacks. And this will happen, basically, either at 8 stacks, or whenever the target that has dots on it reaches 20% via this talent right here. It gives you a guaranteed collapsing effect, essentially, right? At the same time, this ability here gives you a chance to proc Crescendo, which is right over here, whenever Blackened Soul does indeed gain stacks. The capstone here for Hellcaller is a cool one. It's basically Baby Dark Soul. A minute cooldown, so both Hellcaller and Soul Harvester have these minute cooldown windows, right? Dark Magic Erupts, basically, it gives you haste. It gives you haste 6 stacks on all of your Withers, whether you have 1 or 1 million active. They all get 6 stacks. Keep in mind, at 8 stacks, they're guaranteed to collapse. So you're basically saying, hey, Withers up, collapse. There you go, damage increase. It also causes your Withers to do damage whenever you pop Malevolence in the first place. And when corrupted, your haste is increased, and spending shards on damaging spells, basically Rapture or Seed at times, I suppose, grants 1 additional stack of Wither. So this, paired with, you know, your Soul Rot and your Singularity and your windows, is incredibly strong for, you know, a cooldown-based burst window every minute. Now, as far as the tree over here is concerned, it's the same talents we're playing on the top here as Soul Harvester until you get to this spot right here. We are playing Shadow Bolt over Drain Soul in single target as far as Hellcaller is concerned. Moving on from here, you're playing Haunt, but you're not playing Improved Haunt. You are also not playing Death's Embrace. We have a few extra points over here. We have 2 points in Malediction, and we have 1 point over here in Sacrilash's Dark Strike. This is a corruption damage increase, or a Wither damage increase. It is Wither, because Wither replaces corruption. This does indeed work. To a similar extent, damage increase, or I guess crit strike chance increase of, you know, Agony, Corruption, Wither, and UA. Dot-based damage amps are much stronger with Wither for Hellcaller than they are compared to Soul Harvester. So you're playing them. Heading down here, still playing Creeping Death, playing Focus Malignancy, playing Soul Rot, playing Malign Omen, Crescendo, Prove Rapture, Malefic Touch, and Withering Bolt. Now, they both play relatively similar. Look at that in a minute here rotationally. But if you're looking to play Cleave builds, we'll look at M+ builds here in a minute, but more like single target-esque kind of Cleave builds, say a fight like Silken Court, or a fight where there's, you know, ads spawning every so often, where you can get, you know, a decent bit of Cleave value. I'll put a link to like a general Cleave build for each down below, or in that pastebin link, I should say. Probably both builds and pastebin link, but either way. You will want to shift points over here into Cold of the Week, and quite possibly into Dark Harvest if you can get, you know, consistent Soul Rot Cleave every minute onto the ads to spawn. There's been a handful of ways to shift points over here into Cold of the Week. I've seen people pulling out of Malediction to go over here into Cold of the Week like this, but unfortunately you can't get Creeping Death anymore. So the most common, I guess, you know, pull that I have seen talent-wise is actually pulling points out of Contagion and hopping over here into Cold of the Week, which makes things a little interesting because you are losing, you know, essentially dot damage as far as, you know, Wither is concerned. But when you have multiple targets active, whether it's ads, you know, so on and so forth or whatever, an 8% Rapture increase for each enemy hit, which pains 5 targets, up to 40%, can be exceptionally strong. Even in 2 targets, like on Silken Court, right? That's a 16% Rapture damage increase for basically the entire fight, because you're gonna have corruption permanently on the bosses. You're playing AC here too as well. So these builds might shift around to a similar extent. If you're playing Vile Taint in this scenario, you can just play a Vile Taint and pull out of here, go there. So it'll vary a bit. It's worth checking Warcraft log and things like that in general to find out as well, but I'll have links to these builds down below for you guys if you want. Let's take a look at AoE. All right, so when it comes to AoE M+ talents for Affliction, Hellcaller, and Soul Harvester, I'm starting off with Hellcaller here because I think it's actually the better hero talent choice for Affliction, but not by a crazy amount. I think they're both pretty close when it comes to M+, but I do give the nod to Hellcaller, having Malevolence as a cooldown, Wither obviously just a lot of damage in general. It just feels good, strong to play. Now, they have similar but different damage profiles. Wither obviously being a dot, it can ramp up over time whenever you pop your Malevolence and start rapturing. I've noticed when, at least me personally, when it comes to running Hellcaller versus Soul Harvester and Plus, Hellcaller definitely, Soul Harvester will burst higher often when it comes to, you know, getting into a pack fast, setting up dots, because you're getting multiple empowered shards, succulent souls, right? By casting your Soul Rot early on, right? But once you churn through those shards and the succulent souls, Hellcaller still has Withers ramping, still has this rolling, and begins to catch up a good bit. Both are very close, but I would give the nod overall to Hellcaller. And the build we're playing here does not shift a crazy amount when we're playing in a single target, honestly. You're still playing Malefic Touch, which does also work at AoE. Every mob you hit with Rapture gets the damage increase. We are playing Dark Harvest here. We put the point over here. We're not playing Withering Bolt here, which might end up changing depending on where it goes. I've seen some builds playing a point down here over Contagion, but I'm going to play this build currently because obviously Wither, Hellcaller, very strong damage-wise. Still playing AC. We are playing Drain Soul here as Hellcaller as well because Drain Soul, Shard, Slamping, Mythic Plus, very strong. We are playing Vile Taint over Singularity, only because Vile Taint, obviously AV application. We are not playing Infirmity here. We are playing 2 points in Cold of the Week. If you're hitting 5 targets, you're getting a 40% Rapture increase, which is very, very strong. Dark Harvest, like I said, and besides that, not much really changes from single target. It's pretty similar, which is honestly a good thing. But looking at Soul Harvester here as well, to a similar extent, not a crazy amount changes, right? We are over here playing Vile Taint, no Infirmity. We're playing 2 points in Cold of the Week, 1 point over here in Contagion. We're not playing Malediction at all. We are indeed certainly playing Dark Harvest and Death's Embrace. I have seen some experiment with Ravenous Afflictions. I'm not a huge fan of it in M+. I think it's okay, but like you're swimming in Nightfall procs a good bit, and it can be hard at times to dump Drain Soul procs, like I guess Nightfall-based Drain Soul procs. When it comes to M+, when you're trying to Rapture a bunch and refresh multiple dots at times, because the Drain Souls, you want to get a full channel off versus just saying, hey, you know, 1 tick and we're done. You don't want to interrupt that Drain Soul, or a Nightfall-based Drain Soul, right? So experimenting a bit still here with this. Might end up changing it later on, but for now, this is what I'm going with, and that is that. Let's get into rotations. Alrighty, so getting into the Soul Harvester single target opener for Affliction Warlock, it doesn't vary a crazy amount between Soul Harvester and Hellcaller, but Soul Harvester, keep in mind, has to leverage more Nightfall procs. Nightfall, once again, will spawn your Demonic Soul in via Wicked Reaping, which will make him do damage, apply Soul Anathema, all that, and just in general has a lot of synergy once again with your Soul Harvester tree. Casting Haunt also guarantees a stack of Nightfall, so keep that in mind. You don't want to cast a Haunt when you're at 2 stacks of Nightfall, because you can't go to 3. To a similar extent, if you ever get TC procs when you're draining, Drain Soul or Shadow Bolts, whatever you're casting here, you want to make sure if you hit 2 stacks, you cast 1 as soon as possible, because you can't go past 2. You don't want to waste an instant cast Rapture. So we're going to open up here heading into this pack, or this boss. Let's say where the boss is being pulled now. We're going to precast a Haunt into a precast Unstable Affliction, Agony, Corruption, which is permanent, cast Drain Soul to max stacks of Shadow's Embrace, Singularity, Soul Rot, Dark Lair, Trinkets, Potions, whatever, and honestly just begin Rapturing. Rapture, dump a Drain Soul here because the Nightfall's going to expire. Do that, dump a Shard here real fast, cast my Haunt again. I have 2 stacks here. I want to Rapture a little bit, dump some here, cast a Drain Soul. Gonna dump this Rapture, free Rapture proc there. Gonna dump the rest of these here because my dots are sort of running out of time. There we go. Gonna drain once again here. Catch my Agony, catch my Unstable Affliction, and honestly, that's pretty much the gist of the opener. Besides that, you're just going to maintain your dots here. You're going to maintain your Agony, maintain your Unstable Affliction, dump your Nightfall stacks as best as you can without, without wasting stacks and going too high past 2. And that's basically it. Now, you also can fish. I'm going to Rapture once here. I'll Rapture again here because why not? You can sort of fish for tier set procs. I have a Weak Warrior here that will show if I get one. I'm not getting one right now, but, we'll try for it here. There. That's what that is a tier set proc, which was shown by this Weak Warrior. Now, you're going to hold your Singularity for every Soul Rot window. It's coming up now, so I'm going to basically go here. I'm going to cast my Haunt, cast my Singularity, and cast my Soul Rot. And I get a few shards there. Now, optimally going into those windows there, you want to essentially have less than 3 shards. You don't waste any, but at the same time you're still going to get 3 shards generated as Succulent regardless. In this window you would dump more shards there. I'm just yapping and talking to y'all, but you dump as many shards as you can there before that window closes. That's going to happen. Basically, you have these large windows, which you have your Dark Lair mixed into every 2 minutes with Singularity and Soul Rot, and then a minute later you're going to hold every Singularity for every Soul Rot, line them up, minute mark here. You're going to have a smaller Rapture window, which is still going to give you shards via your Soul Rot being cast every minute. You're going to pair these together and dump as many Raptures as you can. And then a minute later, at the 2-minute mark, you're going to have these 2 plus your Dark Lair once again. So it goes, basically large window, every 2 minutes with Dark Lair, smaller windows every 1 with Soul Rot and Singularity. But with those succulent shards being granted to you via Soul Rot and giving you that shard gen every Soul Rot cast, it gives you the leeway to cast more Raptures freely, I guess more frequently than Hellcaller can, barring insane shard gen between those windows. You don't need to pool as much because you know whenever I'm going to cast my Soul Rot, I'm going to get 3 shards. So there's that. Let's look at Hellcaller's opener. Alrighty, now we're going to be looking at the Hellcaller Affliction single target opener. The big difference here between Soul Harvester and Hellcaller has Malevolence. You're still holding your Singularity for your Soul Rot every minute. You're not getting 3 shards from your Soul Rot like you do with Soul Harvester, but you're popping your Malevolence every minute, which gives you that hasted effect. It basically flares up your withers, causes them to collapse, or if they're calling it here, and just does a lot of damage. So both specs have these strong 1-minute damage windows, and both specs will also have larger windows when you're pairing your Dark Lair with them, essentially every 2 minutes. So honestly, the rotation's pretty similar, just Soul Harvester has to leverage a lot more Nightfall procs. Now, as Hellcaller, you're playing Shadowbolt here as your, killer spell, right? I want to hit on briefly here. If you're playing Shadowbolt, Shadow's Embrace has a max of 2 stacks. If you're playing Drain Soul, it has a max of 4, and that's for both Soul Harvester and Hellcaller and whatever else you're doing. So we're going to open up here, same opener. Honestly, we're going to precast a Haunt, precast Unstable Affliction, Agony, Wither, which is old corruption essentially. 2 Shadowbolts to stack Shadow's Embrace to max stacks here. 1, 2 Singularity, Soul Rot, Dark Lair, Trinkets, Potions, whatever, and pop your Malevolence. And begin rapturing. Rapture. Keep in mind, your Haunt does not grant Nightfall here. We're also not playing Improved Haunts. It will not refresh Shadow's Embrace. You need to watch that on your own. Got a Nightfall proc there. Dump that. Just keep dumping as many Raptures as you can here, filling with Shadowbolts. And you can see how easy it is to actually dump these, Nightfall procs if you're playing Shadowbolts comparatively to Drain Soul. But at the same time, Drain Soul has that added bonus of having the Execute clause on it when, just more damage in general, and both fit, honestly, both playstyles pretty well. Now, I'm gonna dump this TC proc here. We're at 2, don't want to overcap there. Catch my Agony, refresh my UA, dump a proc here as well. We're actually getting a lot of procs here, so I can dump a few more Raptures in this window than usual, but usually I'm conserving more shards here because I know, once again, I have my window in about 8 seconds here, pairing my Singularity with my Soul Rot, and I'm not going to get shards coming in here, during this window like I would if I was playing Soul Harvester. So I'm going to go Singularity, gonna go Soul Rot, go start rapturing, pop Malevolence here, then start rapturing, rapture. Need to refresh my Haunt here briefly. I try and dump this Shadowbolt from that Nightfall. There we go. And just dump the rest of these Raptures. Rapture, and yeah, there's one for the row at the end, right? You won't always get all of them in that window if you get really high RNG on Crescendo procs, instant cast Raptures, good shard gen, but either way, dump as many as you can. That's basically it. Like I said, you want to play a little safer when you're just dumping Raptures excessively in the middle of these windows because you don't get 3 shards back as Hellcaller if you cast Soul Rot like you do Soul Harvester. That's basically it. You pair these two together again with Dark Lair in 20 seconds, and once again, that's basically AF in single target as Hellcaller. It's much simpler than it was in Dragonflight. Your corruption is permanent, or your Wither is permanent. You're playing Absolute Corruption. You're not managing Siphon Life anymore. It's honestly a lot of fun to play. Both feel good. Both are fun. Both are thematic. Let's look at them both in AoE. Alrighty, so now we are playing Soul Harvester AoE. The build has shifted a little bit. We're basically playing Vile Taint or Phantom Singularity. We are playing 2 points in Cold of the Week for that Rapture damage increase, and we're going to look at the opener here very briefly in AoE. Now this might change a little bit from pack to pack depending on what you're doing, all that kind of stuff, but one thing you want to keep in mind here with Tormented Crescendo, whether you're playing honestly Hellcaller or Soul Harvester, you have to cast Drain Soul or Shadowbolt, whatever you're using here, into the mob that has Unstable Affliction on it. If you don't have that, or if you're not doing that, you cannot have a chance to generate Crescendo procs. They changed this recently. It's a very bad playstyle. Hopefully it's reverted, but at this point, it is what it is. I have a script in my player profile which highlights the mob that has UA on it in red, so you'll see it here. That's what's happening. If you want it, go down below. Before you can grab it. So the tank's running into the pack here. He's rounding it up. What I typically do, we're gonna head in here. Tank's running at the pack. I'm gonna pre-cast Seed of Corruption. You cast Seed one time. That's it. You don't spam Seed anymore. Rapture is your main Soul Shard spender in AoE and single target. You just cast Seed to apply Corruption or Wither if you're Hellcaller. But we are Soul Harvester. So tank's running in. Gonna cast my Seed of Corruption. Gonna cast UA on a target. Haunt basically to pop it when it's all rounded up. Vile Taint into a Soul Rot. Dark Lair, Potion, whatever you got. Rapture in. Rapture. Rapture, dump a Nightfall proc here onto this UA target. Didn't get a TC proc, it's okay. Gonna Rapture again, dump a Nightfall proc, hope for a proc, got one there, perfect. Wouldn't have got that proc if I was draining a different target. You have to drain your unstable affliction target. Besides that, just dumping a bunch of procs here. Dumping as many procs as you can, dumping Nightfall procs. Now we're at the point here where agonies are falling. You have to manually refresh these in between area vital tank casts. It's a weird playstyle. Once again, I get it. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. I'm going to refresh those there. Rapture a little bit if we can here. Bit of extra vital tank damage from that Rapture. Cast a Drain Soul based off of Nightfall on this target here. Dump that proc. Rapture again. Drain again. Drain again. Why not? Sure. And I know in about, 10 seconds here, I'm going to have a damage window again. Now I'm going to stop here. These odds are going to fall. It's fine. But so in plus at times, you have to make the choice of, okay, do I want to cast this Vital Taint and this Soul Rot again on this pack, or do I want to wait for the next pack, depending if this pack's going to die soon? Am I going to get value out of it? Not really sure. That's more a feel it out kind of thing. But regardless, the big thing, you still pair Soul Rot with Vital Taint. Vital Taint's a half-minute cooldown. Soul Rot is a minute, so you can cast one Vital Taint between every Soul Rot. That's basically that. They all pair together well at the 2-minute mark here with Dark Glare, and at times they may get desync a bit depending on how you're pulling packs. It is what it is. You got to feel it out, but that's basically AF in a nutshell when it comes to M+. For Soul Harvester, let's look briefly at Hellcaller. Alrighty, now this is going to be the Hellcaller Affliction Mythic Plus AoE cooldown opener. Not a whole lot really changed here build-wise either compared to what we play in single target. A couple things here and there change, I guess, but like we're playing 2 points here in Cold of the Week. We are playing Vital Taint here, and honestly, a couple of things changed. No Withering Bolt, but I mean, still playing like the essence of what this Hellcaller is. You got 2 points in Malediction, 1 point in Contagion, which to be fair, I've seen some builds playing 2 points and pulling a point, I believe, out of Focus Malignancy, but I think this is likely a bit better, or a big concession to like needing a little more single target, but we'll see where it goes. This is what I'm playing currently. It is what it is. So to a similar extent, just like with Soul Harvester, so the tank's running into the pack, it's getting rounded up, all that kind of stuff. You're going to want to precast Seed of Corruption, just one, into Unstable Affliction, a Haunt, Vital Taint, Soul Rot, Dark Glare, Trinkets, Potions, whatever, then pop your Malevolence and begin Rapturing. Now, like we were talking about in single target as well, dump this Nightfall proc here in this mob, hope for a proc, didn't get it, it's okay, dump it again, there's a proc there, perfect. Like we were talking about in single target as well, you're not getting that insane shard gen that Soul Harvester gets whenever you cast your Soul Rot here, so a decent bit of the time you're gonna feel quite possibly likely a bit more shard starved in your opener, like at least in AoE and things, depending if you're shard sniping well from one pack to the next as Hellcaller. You're not getting those 3 guaranteed shards, so you got to plan a little more around that. But if you're good with your Drain Soul cast and all that kind of stuff, and shard sniping from the previous pack dying, it should still work out relatively well. Once again, casting Vital Taint basically on cooldown there at the half-minute mark. I got to refresh Agonies manually before the Vital Taint comes on cooldown. Is what it is. Weird playstyle. I don't know what to tell you. Dump these procs here. Refresh my Agonies. They're going to fall here, but it's the same thing we talked about Soul Harvester. Basically, you would have basically an Agony refresh there, and right after that, you would have a Vital Taint Soul Rot pairing at that minute mark, and you pop your Malevolence with that window again to flare up all those withers. You can see them gaining 6 stacks here. They all basically started collapsing and becoming acute, and this is your Q. This is your damage window. This is your go window, right? So you can see how both are similar in Mythic Plus, but one has, Hellcaller being that stronger wither dot based profile. Malevolence giving you that haste amp, which does also work a bit with, Dark Harvest here being multiplicative. And then you have Soul Harvester not having that Malevolence, damage amp, but getting those 3 shards with Soul Rot, having those 3 succulent souls or shards as well from the Soul Rot being empowered, giving you more damage to your Rapture. What's up, big dog? How you doing? People love me. I don't know what to tell you. But that's basically it, honestly, for AoE. You would follow the same single target opener if you're doing bosses at M+, but that's basically it. AF feels good. It's fun to play. The ramp-up time feels less for a handful of reasons. Wither feels great. Soul Harvester feels great. Honestly, AF's a lot of fun. So thanks for watching, guys. That wraps it up, and hopefully the video will help clarify anything you might have wanted to know about Affliction Warlock heading into War Within for both Hellcaller, Soul Harvester 11.0, Season 1, M+, and all of that in general. And I have to say, I am excited for AF to hopefully be the spec to play this tier. It's been a long time since I played AF in any kind of relevant setting because it just hasn't really been that good. We've been in a demo a demo world for a few years now, but hopefully that is all changing. We'll find out in the next 2 weeks. Once again, any week wars add-ons on the video, if you like them, links to my Twitch and Discord down below, you can for free. Also, on my website up here, if you want, they'll be going up. The guides and the website will be going up the day after these videos come out. Talent trees, rotations, embellishments, potions, all that. We'll be up to date whenever that happens, whenever they change. So if you want to bookmark that or whatever, feel free to do so. Also, I want to give one huge shout out to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Thank you all a million times, like always. I greatly appreciate it. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing for you all, making content, and just without y'all support, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I am greatly appreciative. Thank you all so much. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be link up here as well. Up here, as well as down below in the description. Now, like I said at the start, we have about 2 days until Warcraft actually launches. Then we're going to have about 2.5 weeks if you're in early access to level up, gear up, do whatever. Then Heroic comes out, and then Mythic. So Blizzard may very well change things over the next few weeks, depending on tuning, this and that. So if things do change, I'll make an update video. But at the same time, I also mentioned in the talent section, I have a paste bin link down below, which is going to be updated every day when new guides come out for AF, then Demo, then Destro, whatever order they go in, which I will update over the course of 11.0. If you want to look for talent builds that may change, that'll be there for you. If you like the video, hit the sub button below, helps out a ton. And with that being said, I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.